And then luckily, like the people who were also like performing at the event, they were kind of dressed in similar attire than I was in all black. So knowing Kanye, you know, that wasn't hard to guess. But you know, long story short, just skipping over a couple of hurdles I had to jump over, I ended up getting to, you know, kind of like the insider area. But once I got there, I'm like, I've never been in Mercedes-Benz Stadium before. Like, where do I go from here? I'm kind of just like looking around. To my left, I see Quavo. Quavo, and all of a sudden, like, the whole Migos entourage on my left. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely in the right area. So,
and we're live, cuzzo.
Back again.
Hit him with the intro.
Back again. Welcome back to the Electus Podcast. Today we got another special guest for you guys. Justin came all the way from Miami, not only just to visit family, but to also stop by the podcast, man, and chop it up with us. So we want to say thank you for that, man. We appreciate having you here.
of course, no, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, man.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a minute.
Is this your first like official podcast or no?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah?
As a guest, it's my first official one.
Dang,
Dope.
that's what's up.
Dope.
That's what's up, man.
Thanks for having me.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
So
Well,
let's kick it off, man. Let's kick it off. Who is Justin, or what do you go by in Miami? You got a different.
yeah, you got alter ego.
Who are you in
That
Miami?
is funny that you mentioned that. So corporate, they call me Jay. That's like my LinkedIn name. But you know, I always introduce myself as Justin. A lot of my close friends, they call me Jay Gus, but I go by Justin. We can go with Justin.
We go with Justin.
Cool.
So what is Justin doing these days? What are you up to in Miami?
Man, that's always such a tough question to answer for me because I feel like I'm just involved in so much. So like, yeah, obviously I have my day job. I'm in corporate digital marketing.
Nice.
But you know, I'm also have the brand Scut, working on that. Freelance graphic design, videography, photography, and really just enjoying life, honestly.
There you go.
It's the perfect place to do it if you are gonna have. If you're gonna be juggling all those things.
I was
gonna
say
it in Miami.
Yeah, either there or LA.
Yeah.
LA. But give some background real quick, because for the viewers, how you guys know each other? Because obviously that's how we got you here is through Malcolm. So
for sure.
Yeah, man, we've known each other for at least what I want to say probably 7 years, something like that. Because now, when I cut your hair, have I cut your hair at the shop that I was at before the one I'm at now, or no?
No, I think it was just this one.
Just this one?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I remember that boy Malcolm. He's hard to book, right?
Man,
you got to book Malcolm months in advance.
You would think he's a celebrity, by the way. You have to book with this guy. I'm his cousin. I can't even get in there.
I know, man. I know.
Hey, but it makes sense. The quality of cuts he gives, it definitely makes sense.
I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate.
Came a long way too, man.
I have, man. I was cutting in bathrooms, basements, garages. You know, so now to be this busy is definitely a blessing. It took a lot of hard work. I mean,
definitely.
You know,
of course.
Hey, I'm just thankful and appreciative that I can even, be this booked and be this busy.
Yeah. That's a good thing, man.
But so that's how I knew him. I cut, well, not just that, but I also cut his brother's hair and his nephew's hair.
Okay.
You know, and then last week we actually had Rakia on the podcast.
Yeah, I heard.
So,
she had nothing but great things to say about it.
She killed it.
Yep.
I mean, she's a beast. You know, she gave us so much. I think she gave us the most content yet.
Yeah, there's a lot. It was a good episode. It was pretty long, and I mean, if we would have recorded the off the scene stuff too, man, that would have been like a whole nother episode.
True.
Yeah.
No, true.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Yeah, she was saying nothing but great things about it. So maybe even more excited to get on here.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up, man. So, what is the Scut brand? Because I mean, as people can see, we got the hats in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
One exclusive. Those are nice. Yeah. So what is it?
Yeah. So Scut, it stands for spreading knowledge using tactics, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but it also represents our brand values of strength, knowledge, unity, and truth. Just some things that we really just kind of try to operate with on a day-to-day basis, not just for the brand, but in our personal lives. Dope. It's almost like a cult, how we work on it.
Yeah.
We're always like on each other about our mentality, our mindset, and it kind of translates into the business and the message that we push. But yeah, to short and sweet answer your question, it's a clothing brand.
Oh,
that's
nice.
dope.
Yeah. And is it just the clothing brand, or is there something else within that clothing brand?
No, yeah, it's as of right now, it's a clothing brand. Just for some context, we want to do a lot. So Scut's kind of like a conglomerate in the making. We knew that just with clothing though, that would probably give us the platform that we needed the fastest. But yeah, we have a lot of plans to just take it a lot further than clothing. Really being a multimedia conglomerate, like I said. So, clothing, podcasts, media, YouTube, even financial stuff, agencies,
Nice.
music. So we're definitely in the early days right now.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing a lot of big stuff from what you were telling me.
Oh, yeah.
And when you say we, is it a bunch of you guys?
Well, it's me and my co-founder, the person I actually moved to Miami with.
Oh, okay.
But like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of like a cult because, as time progressed, as we've got more and more success, people seeing what we're doing, more and more people are kind of coming out the woodworks like, yeah, bro, let me help out here and there, let me invest,
Yeah, they've created like a brotherhood.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So
kind of reminds me of the movie Batman too, like Ra's al Ghul. These
Yeah,
are like moving
yeah.
in the shadows. They're over here
Yeah.
working on some stuff. But that's dope, man. That's dope.
For
How important is that? Like, obviously, when you first started it, like you're saying with your boy. Shout out to him, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan. He's definitely doing this thing. He's a very integral part to Scott.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, how important is it to, as you go, right, and as you're moving this vehicle in the right direction towards success and growing it in the way that you guys want to grow it, how important is keeping a brotherhood and keeping a team full of guys who hold each other accountable?
It's very important. It kind of like keeps the vehicle in motion, like you're saying. We always are holding ourselves accountable, always, trying to be there for each other, but more importantly, being there for the business. And it kind of happens as, it's like vice versa. We're there for each other. We're there for the business. We're there for the business. We're there for each other. So it's been very, very key, honestly.
Dope, man. Dope.
But and it's when that was when the idea was getting started, was it that you came to him or did he come to you, or how did that develop?
It's funny. It was kind of mutual. So we always knew that we wanted to do something. We didn't know what it was just yet, but we wanted to do something. And so it was my roommate. He lived in an apartment, obviously before I moved to Miami. So he got a security deposit back, and he ended up coming across an ad for a heat press machine and a cutter. So he was like, I might as well use this security deposit I just got back and buy this heat press machine and cutter. And then, one thing led to another, and the clothing, that's how it kind of started for Scott. And, we initially thought we were going to be, influencers, making YouTube videos, content, skits like that.
Yeah.
Which, it could still happen down the line. But, yeah, the clothing just came a lot more naturally.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Dope.
What is it that you say when we were starting Malcolm, how, we were throwing ideas out?
Oh, yeah, you're throwing it against the wall.
Yeah.
You keep throwing enough stuff against the wall, man, and eventually something's going to stick,
For sure.
And then, like, with us, what did you guys have a name before Scott? Or was it always Scott?
No, it was Scott from the jump, honestly.
Man, that's what's up.
One
time to me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it took us. It only took us what? 2 or 3 times.
It took it took a little.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it took.
But
a
once
longer.
we heard the name, and I'm sure like just for you guys, once you figured out which acronym you wanted to use, you knew that okay, this was the right name. This is what represents us. And this is what kind of emulates what we're trying to do.
Yeah. That's what's up.
No, that's dope, man.
And what made you choose Miami? Because were you here when that idea was coming together, or did this happen when you already moved to Miami?
No, so I was actually here. So I had graduated college in December, the dead of the winter, and started my first full-time job in January. It's kind of the first time I was really out on my own. Going through school, like you always know what's next. Like, you're in high school, the next thing is college. You're in college, the next thing is get a job. Same thing with athletics. You're in undergrad, or I'm sorry, JV. Next thing is varsity. Varsity, next thing is college, whatever. But I say all that to say, the next step was always kind of like outlined for me until I graduated college. And then I remember I had this thought in my head as I was like driving my stuff back home, like, wow, like this is the first time in my life where my future is kind of undetermined right now. Like there is no the next step is what I choose to do. Like it's all on me now. So, as I'm driving to and from work, and just for some context, my first job was like 65, 70 miles away from my house.
What?
Up in Libertyville. So imagine driving from Aurora up north to Libertyville. Oh, trust me. So getting there every day, driving there to and from work, I have a lot of time on my hands to just sit and think.
True.
And yeah, it got even worse when, like I said, it was in the dead of the winter. So snow's coming down, traffic, accidents, all that. And I was just thinking on my way home from work, like, I don't have any kids here. I don't have a girl here. Like, going through all this stuff, I'm literally choosing to go through this. So like, I don't have to be here. True. I might as well not be here. So instantly, I knew my friend. I had some connections in Miami. Called him up saying like, yeah, I'm moving to Miami. And I got home, talked to my mom about it, told her my older brother about it. You know, they're supportive, but I know in the back of their head, they're like, yeah, right.
Right, yeah.
They're like,
he's
yeah,
not going
right.
to do it.
No, for real.
He ain't going to jump.
Because, like, my family was kind of like the pioneers of the family moving from Chicago to Aurora. Gotcha. Nobody has really, you know, left the area that, you know, we're in. Right. So now me talking about, oh, I'm moving states. Right. Like, yeah, right. But, yeah, sure enough, come July, August, I was out of there.
Yeah. So when you first got down there, were you just overwhelmed by like the culture down there, or were you like, oh, and you know what, this is where I belong? Because Miami's very fast paced.
I love Miami.
Very fast paced.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places.
I don't know if I could live there. I would. If I was younger, I think I could do it. Yeah. But now it's just for an old soul like myself, it might be a little too much for me. I gotta get in and get out.
You couldn't be with the button up, open button up.
Yeah, that's the go-to.
Let the chest hairs hang out.
Yeah. I got a little taco meat. Yeah, a little taco meat.
Yeah, but no. To answer your question, I really like you said. I think it was instant fit. Like I knew I just fit right in. I remember going back to kind of like my first job when I was living up here. I walked in that first day of work, like took a look around, instantly thought there's no way I'm doing this for the next 40 years. Like, there's absolutely no way.
That's tough to swallow too. For like you're like, dang, 40 years.
Man, just sitting behind I literally just came from, you know, having the time of my life in college. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. Now I'm at a desk, surrounded by like people 20 years older than me.
Yeah. They look miserable, you know.
Man, I promise you, I got home that night, instantly Googled how to become rich. Like,
Yep.
Right now.
No, I had to make some shit.
Yeah. What'd you learn in Miami? Like, did you get homesick at all, or did you learn right away? Like, man, I ain't never going back.
No, there was no chance I was going back. But I will say, stuff got real very fast. Like I said, that was kind of my first experience adulting. Yeah. And God really threw the book at me, man. He threw every type of adult experience you can have externally at me as soon as I moved there. So, like, I got there instantly, hurricane warning, what was it? Hurricane Dorian, I think.
Okay.
And that was a bit scary because obviously, you know, coming from Illinois, we don't have to deal with hurricanes. Yeah. And then when we think about hurricanes, we just think of mass destruction. Katrina was like the worst. So this specific hurricane was on a crash course to Miami. Like, I'm like, it started off like, oh, everyone, you know, all the locals are used to it. They're saying, oh, this is going to be nothing. It's just a category, or it's just a tropical storm. And the tropical storm turned into, oh, it's nothing. It's just a category 1. And then, you know, as it's getting closer and closer, it's like, oh, okay, maybe we should start like boarding stuff up. It's category 3.
Some shelter.
And then, like, just watching the tracker, I'm watching the tracker like a hawk every day. It's just getting closer and closer. Direct crash course to Miami. All of a sudden, the day it's supposed to hit, it takes like a 90-degree angle straight up north and dies in Miami.
Man.
Like, I mean, it's granted the locals, actually, I will say like the locals weren't worried, but this specific one, they were definitely worried. Like, driving around Miami, you would thought the apocalypse happened, bro. Dang. Like, I remember just driving around, seeing boarded up windows, no gas stations had gas. And that was actually a very key mistake I made was every time I was, you know, driving, I would see just lines at the gas station. I'm not thinking anything of it. And so, until I needed to get gas. Yeah. And then I'm driving home from work. You know, I'm pushing it. I'm still young, so like I'm waiting till that gas light turn on before I get gas. Yeah. And sure enough, there's no gas left in Miami. I'm driving to gas station. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, no gas. What?
Oh, that's got to be scary, man.
Bro, scary because my gas light's on. I was pushing it, so I'm Googling like gas in Miami. Sure enough, the first article that pops up, 88% of gas stations are out of gas in Miami-Dade County. Oh, man. Yeah, luckily, like literally by the grace of God, I made one right turn, found the only gas station with gas in 20-mile radius, and boarded up. But like, you would have thought it was the apocalypse out there for that specific hurricane. Like I said, it was on a crash course.
Yeah. No, and that's, I mean, when you first move anywhere, I mean, well, even if you move into a different city, right, in a different state, you got to adjust, right? But like, moving to a state like Florida, where you, like you said, man, in Illinois, we don't deal with that stuff. The worst we got to deal with is maybe a tornado.
Maybe,
right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And every now and then you'll hear the warning go off, but people still don't start freaking out.
Yeah.
No, people don't freak out.
And that's kind of how it is with hurricanes down there. Like, it's like they're like, even with all that being said about the apocalyptic stuff, we had a roommate who was a Florida native. I'm telling this man, like, bro, I'm doing all this research, like how to prepare for a hurricane. They're talking about getting sandbags, boarding up your windows. I'm telling him, like, bro, we need to do something. I just bought all this stuff. Like, I just moved in there. I'm like, bro, like, this is all about to get wrecked. Like, we got to board up the windows. He's chilling, bro. Like, he's like, nah, like, bro, we
relax, man. We're gonna go clubbing right after this.
Hurricane party. That's what they
we're
call
gonna
it.
be outside. We'll be at the beach.
Yeah. And I mean, sure enough, he was right, but damn.
So did any of those situations make you question your decision?
Still, nah.
No,
like,
you were just like, I'm gonna live through it. I'm good.
Yeah, like after it hit, like I said, that was my first month living in Miami, but still, like the pros absolutely outweigh the cons. Like Florida has a bad rap for being crazy or whatever, but it really isn't as like Chicago is pretty crazy if you really think about it. Chicago can get crazy. So
it's crazy anywhere nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy anywhere, but still in Florida, man, like the weather, you really just can't beat not having to check the weather app ever for real. Like the only time the weather would play a factor in any of your decisions is if it's raining. And you can, if you look out the window, if it's not raining, then you're good to go out in a t-shirt and shorts.
Right.
I mean, that is nice, man.
T-shirts and shorts every day.
Yeah, because especially being out here now this weekend, I forgot how much cold plays a factor into decision making.
True.
It's cold.
Like I didn't want to go back out last night because it was snowing. I didn't want to go to walk to my car that was across the street because it was cold.
Man, I don't want to walk to my car. It's in the garage. You know?
It's too cold.
It's cold in the garage.
No, that's true. All right, man. And like one of the things I wanted to ask you too, like when you moved down there, and you're saying that you had to adjust and adapt and whatnot. I know that you did have to come back for a brief second, like you did have to come back here, and then you moved back down there again, right?
Yeah.
So the second time when you moved back, did you feel like you had a better sense of even self? Were you more grounded in it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I kind of felt like almost like a pro, but like moving back home the second time around. The first time around, the only reason I did move back was because like I kind of wanted to get out of the house I was living in, but the housing market around that time was crazy. I didn't have to leave the house I was in, but it wasn't for me at that point. But yeah, once I moved back, I thought I was going to be back for a lot longer than I was. I'd initially planned to be back home for a year, save money, stack up. I was probably only back for like 2-3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, because I remember you coming to the shop and you were like, yeah, man, I'm probably going to be here, like you just said, for like a year. And the next thing I know, you're like, yeah, I'm gone, man.
Couldn't
my
wait to get back.
Flight leaves today, and I'm on my way back. So
I'm out of here.
Yeah, let me get a quick fade real quick.
Right, I had to get back right one last time.
No, man, that's dope, man. That's dope. And since you've been down there, man, and just from I've been able to follow you like via social media and whatnot. You've gotten to do some pretty cool things, man, and have some pretty cool opportunities. And you've put yourself in some spaces, man, that a lot of people are either, well, I would say maybe trying to get into, but the same risk that you took to move down to Miami. Tell us about some of the risks that you've taken, man, to kind of help, not only help yourself, like grow as a videographer, photographer, but even the Scut brand, because you got to shoot a video with Tory Lanez. You got to meet Jake Paul, Tyreek Hill. I think Jake Paul even, shout out to Jake Paul for rocking the Scut brand hat. Yeah, he rocked that one specifically, right?
Yeah, yep.
Man, that's what's up, man. That's exciting.
Man, that was very exciting. So how that came to be was an old college teammate. She's like an influencer now. She is also now, since she's an influencer, she's signed to Tyreek Hill's clothing brand as a affiliate.
Dope.
So they just opened up a store in Aventura Mall, which is pretty local to Miami. And they were having an event there. Jake Paul, he was a guest on the podcast they were hosting in the shop.
Oh, nice.
And so she's telling me, she knows I have the brand, we're real close. So she was like, yeah, bro, like, I can get you in. It was a very exclusive event, but she was like, yeah, I can get you in. You should definitely try to push her close to Jake Paul. So I'm thinking, like, this is regular to her.
Yeah.
The whole time I pull up, like, she's acting like a fan. She's like, bro, this is Jake Paul right here. So I'm like, oh, so, like, this isn't, like, a done deal. Like, I really have to, like, approach him. Like, I thought she was going to make the connection, the introduction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But no, she did all I can ask for is just put me in the room.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, once they wrapped up the podcast, I'm thinking he's at least going to, like, sit and mingle. Because, like I said, this is a pretty exclusive event, pretty intimate setting. So, like, I'm thinking that, I'll be able to just brush shoulders with him and then maybe start chopping it up. Nah, man, he finished the podcast and he was out. He seems like a busy dude. So, like, he was
Well, at
out.
that time, he was having, like, a bunch of big, fights.
Exactly.
Well, maybe not necessarily back-to-back, but I know he was doing a lot of promoting, for those fights that he was putting
Yeah,
on,
you could tell he was on the schedule about how he's moving. So, like, once I saw him, like, he took some pictures with some people. And I saw him, like, on the head for the exit. I'm like, oh, shit. So,
like, now's my moment. I got to go. If I'm going to do it, I got to do it now.
Nah, for real. It was really, like, sink or swim. So I just, went up to him, showed him the shorts, showed him some hats. And I was like, yeah, bro, like, this is a brand. Gave him a little rundown of it. Very quick. Like, it's really, like, in passing. They talk about, like, an elevator speech. Yeah. I really had to utilize the elevator speech right there. But, and handed it off. And, that was it for that day. He could have very, very well took all that shit and threw it out. So,
is that what you were thinking? Like, at first, you were like, oh, man, you know what? He ain't gonna wear it.
I mean, I don't think I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I didn't have any thoughts, expectations. I just wanted to, just put it in his hands for real.
And then just let it,
Yeah, and then sure enough, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm waking up to a bunch of just like text messages and calls, like, bro, go check out Jake Paul's story. He's rocking your hat. He's rocking your hat. And when I say he was rocking it, he was rocking it. Like a whole stories were like 5-10 stories with the hat on. Not only that, but he has a podcast or like a show on YouTube, and he wore it on the show, like the whole episode. It's in the thumbnail.
Dope.
I'm like, man, I couldn't have, honestly, it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah,
couldn't
huge blessing, man. That's a huge blessing.
It really is.
So with all those risks that you took up until, and then when this Jake Paul moment happened, how did that feel?
It was very validating, man. Like for real, me designing these clothes, and I'm really just kind of like making stuff that I would wear and putting it out, hoping that people would like it. And of course, you're gonna have the families and friends supporting you and whatnot, rocking your stuff. But then to see an A-list celebrity rock it and post it, that was it gave me a whole nother sense of validation, honestly, as a designer, as a brand owner.
Dope.
So yeah, it was pretty
congrats
cool.
on that, man, because that's huge. Because spending all them it had to be hours you guys been spending up until this Jake Paul moment.
Yeah, man, and that wasn't the first time we've given a celebrity some merch. Like when we first started, like probably right before our actual public launch, Antonio Brown, he was in the area. This was right after he left the Raiders. So he was just hosted an event where he was running around for like the kids and whatnot. He was, from the side note, meeting him in person, he's pretty cool. He's not as crazy as
as the media portrays him.
Right. Yeah, not as crazy as the media portrays him. And he showed nothing but love. And we actually have a video of us giving him a T-shirt.
Oh, sick.
But he never wore it. But we gave it to him. So like to have Jake Paul actually wear it, that did mean a lot for sure.
Dope, man. No, that's dope. And then also too, I would imagine, because I know before you had that moment, you also got to go and do something pretty cool, which was sneak into that Kanye listening party.
Oh yeah, Atlanta. Man. Talk about taking risks. Now that's a story for sure. So some context regarding that. So this is back when Kanye was going on his Donda rollout tour, where he was in the Mercedes-Benz Atlanta Falcons Stadium. Doing his thing, and my homeboy, he's a big Kanye fan, just like I am. He got tickets. So he was, yeah, bro, like meet me in Atlanta. Let's go to Kanye's listening party. Like I got tickets. Like just pull up. And that I did. That was also around the time where I was really like taking videography seriously. I got my first relatively professional camera, Sony A7X3.
Dope.
And when I get new toys, I just want to use them. So I'm thinking,
definitely,
just got these Kanye tickets. Just got this camera. I kind of want to see if I can, get down there and shoot Kanye,
Have you guys heard that reel? It's like a real audio of Rick Ross, and it's just a sound. It's like a 15-second sound clip, and it says, "If I'm a photographer and I pull up to an event, I'm shooting. Bow, bow, bow." You know what I'm talking about? Like that's what that made me think of when you said that. You're like, camera. I got Kanye tickets. I'm showing up and I'm shooting.
Nah, for real. So I'm in my head like thinking, all right, how am I gonna make this happen? So I'm thinking like, all right, if I was an event photographer, I gotta look the part. So I put on like a flannel T-shirt. I have some like, I work in digital marketing at an agency, so we have like some type of credential-looking lanyards.
Right. Pack
those with me because them people have credentials on them.
Yeah.
And I pull up. I don't even tell my homeboy about this. So
Oh, you didn't even warn him?
No, I didn't even warn him. Because, like, it could have went two ways. You know, it could have went, like,
he could have talked you out of it.
Yeah.
Or he could have been like, nah, man, don't come.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think he would have been on that. That would have been petty. But
That would have been petty.
Yeah, so, like, he didn't realize what I was trying to do until he's, like, in the lobby. I literally meet him in the lobby. I got all this fucking gear with me. I brought all my gear, like the tripod, the gimbal, which is like the stabilizer, the camera. All my bags. So, like, he looks at me, he just starts laughing, bro. But he knows, like, I always, like, you know, try stuff like this. Whenever we go to a concert, I always, like, get to the front row, no matter what. Bulls game, same thing. But, yeah, so we're walking up, pull up to the front gate, instantly get turned away. They're like, bro, you can't come in here with all this stuff.
Oh,
and I was like, man, I should have known, but, like, whatever. He was like, yeah, bro, we got lockers, like, down there to the left. Go ahead and you can put that stuff in there. You don't have to go all the way back. And I was like, all right, bet. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, I go down there thinking that, okay, whatever, like, I'm just going to put this stuff up and enjoy Kanye concert. So it wasn't the end of the world until I see another entrance. And then I try the same thing again. Got the same result again. They turn me away. But this
worst
time,
thing you can hear is no.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. What's the worst thing going to say? No. And that's exactly what they said. Yeah. But when they turned me away this time, as I was walking back up, I see another dude kind of like walk towards me, like point me out and start walking towards me. And then he just starts coming up to me like, bro, let me work with you, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can get some shots, like, because I have all the equipment and gear on, so he thinks I'm really part of the show. Because he was trying to do the same thing. And I was like, bro, honestly, I'm on the same thing you're on right now. I'm trying to sneak in. And you're like, oh, bro. I was like, yeah, the issue is, like, we can't get in through the main entrances that everyone else is going through.
Right.
Like, what I know about events, because I used to work in the athletic department at my college, the media and event, like videographers and photographers, they have their own separate entrance. They kind of go into where the athletes and stuff go into. So I was like, yeah, bro, we're not going to be able to get in with our stuff going through the regular general admission entrance. Right. And he was like, bro, I know exactly where that entrance is that you're talking about. He's like, it's down there, and instead of going right, so where I went, you make a left and go under the tunnel and all that stuff.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh, I bet, say less. So, like, he's like, you know, gonna come with me and whatnot, but he's just getting distracted. You know, he's taking pictures of people, like, walking in. And I'm like, oh, bro, you're not serious. I'm on a mission. So
right. Where's that door again?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Down this right.
Point me where I need to go.
Yeah. I literally have to just do my own thing. And yeah, you know, I had to like kind of like really think on the fly. You know, they're asking me who I'm with. I overheard somebody say like, "Oh, Live Nation is the event hosting this." So like instantly, I'm like, "Oh, Live Nation," and then they're like, "Okay, what's your name?" Blah blah blah. I'm telling them like Justin. Looking on the list, they're like, "Oh, I don't see you on the list." I'm like, oh, like I really had to like really play the part.
Finesse,
really had to finesse. I was like, "Oh, call so and so, blah blah blah." They did, but then there was a lot of other stuff going on, so they really just ended up waving me through because it was just a little too difficult or whatever.
That's what I would have done too. But I was, man, just go ahead, bro.
No, yeah. I mean, it wasn't that simple. Like I had to get a little lucky. I'm not gonna lie. And then luckily, like the people who were also like performing at the event, they were kind of dressed in similar attire than I was, in all black. So knowing Kanye, you know, that wasn't hard to guess. But you know, long story short, just skipping over a couple of hurdles I had to jump over, I ended up getting to, you know, kind of like the insider area. But once I got there, I'm like, I've never been in Mercedes-Benz Stadium before. Like, where do I go from here? I'm kind of just like looking around. To my left, I see Quavo, and all of a sudden, like the whole Migos entourage on my left. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely in the right area. So I started, you know, just walking, and then like I noticed they're like maybe like a couple steps behind me. So I started like, you know, messing with like I don't want to just stop and wait for them. So I just started like, you know, adjusting my camera.
Yeah, you don't want to stand out at
at
that point.
Exactly.
Even though the look on your face was probably like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like
how did I pull this off?
No, for real. Yeah. Oh, real quick, just I know that this was like God's plan because I was at the very last hurdle, and then. Like this one lady, listen, this is where like all the people with credentials they go through. Like I finally found that entrance. I had to go through like 2 entrances before that to even get there. It was really locked down. Yeah. But I'm in line, right? And then all of a sudden somebody turns around and asks me like, "Who are you with?" And I was like, "Oh, Live Nation, blah blah blah." And she was like, "Well, I'm with Live Nation, and we don't have any cameramen or photographers." And I was like, "Oh, shit!" But then luckily, literally, right as she said that, she was carrying a purse, and the people at the gates that were like checking them in, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't bring that bag in here." So they damn near kicked her out. And I walked in. So I walked in. Like I said, I see Quavo, whatever, adjusting the camera, and even we're in there again, even more security to get to like, you know, certain access points. Yeah. Thankfully, you know, I have my chains on, I have the camera equipment on me, all that stuff. I literally just kind of like I said, they caught up. I was in front of them at first, but then they ended up catching up to me when I started adjusting my camera. And by the time I finished that, I was like kind of like right in the back of their little group. And when security is like, checking them out, it's Quavo, it's the Migos. So they're just like waving them through.
They just thought you were part of the entourage.
Exactly. Thought I was part of the entourage, waved me through. Ended up going back. So they had like the private suites for the celebrities and whatnot. Ended up going back in their section with them, acting like I told them like, oh yeah, like, Live Nation, they just hired me to get some like candid shots of the celebrity reactions of the Kanye's performance, blah, blah, blah. It's cool for them. I got all these celebrities telling me to take pictures of them, like shoot it up. And it got to a point where it got packed. So they were like really like, you needed access to get back to the suites, but you really needed access to get inside the suites, especially Quavo's, because his was the most packed. But since the security had recognized me and saw me like walk in with them and whatnot, I had all access. So they were letting me walk in, walk out. I was changing clothes, like.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Let's take a quick break.
Yeah, so like I said, got full access. I'm in and out of the section. Now I can finally change out of my little photographer acquire and really put like some stuff on. But like, yeah, it was just it was an experience for sure. Just the content I got alone from it was just
priceless.
Yeah,
priceless.
Perfect word for it, priceless.
I'll
send that over to you guys. Maybe you can layer it in with like some
B-roll. That'd be dope.
Yeah, and honestly. That footage really never seen the light of day. Because I didn't want to post it and then be like, wait, what the fuck? Take this down. Blah, blah, blah. Like you weren't with Live Nation, whatever.
True.
I remember that there was a TikTok going around of like Kanye stuff where like a photographer kind of did something like that. But all he did was just go down there and just take pictures of Kanye. But I was able to party with Quavo and them. So I don't know. I'd take mine a little bit more.
No, yeah, those are priceless moments and those experiences in those rooms, like. When you and we kind of mentioned this real quick, but like when you're in a room of celebrities or anybody of quote unquote status, right? You just want to treat them like a regular person,
right?
Because when you start, like you said, man, when you treat them like when you act like a fan, man, you get treated like one.
Exactly. That's like the first. I mean, I kind of knew that even before really, mingling with celebrities. Is that like. Because I'm really not necessarily a fan of any celebrity because, similar mindset to you is like we're all human, we all have the same capabilities. Yeah. I would say the only people I'm a fan of would probably be Kanye West because of just his creative talents and Derrick Rose. But like outside of that, we're all human, type stuff. So I wouldn't ever like try to like be fanned out or be in awe unless like fucking it was God himself or something like that.
Right.
Man, listening to your stories, like you seem or you are like a very determined dude. Like when you got your mindset to something, it seems like you're some way somehow you're gonna make it happen. So what have you done to like prepare yourself or have that mindset to be able to do those things? Because a lot of people probably want to be like in your position, starting a brand, but go more than just local and kind of do what you're doing. So how have you prepared yourself?
Kind of just being conscious. It's going to be a weird answer, but it starts with like being conscious with your thoughts, because I really do think that your thoughts shape your reality. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he speaks a lot about the vicious cycle, about how, your thoughts lead to choices. Your choices lead to, outcomes. Outcomes lead to emotions. Emotions lead to thoughts. And the cycle starts again. I probably butchered that, but essentially what it's saying is that like everything starts with your thoughts, and you're kind of thinking, I think you think like 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 90% of those thoughts are the thoughts that you had yesterday. So now when the cycle, thoughts lead to choices lead to emotions lead to outcome, or whatever it may be, you're repeating the same thing because like I said, most of those thoughts came from yesterday. So once I'm like kind of addressing my thoughts, and like I know you mentioned earlier, like, oh, you're probably like Jake Paul. You thought that he'd never wear it or whatnot. Like, no, actually,
you manifested.
Exactly. I made sure, like, I mean, I didn't think, oh, he's gonna wear this tomorrow, but I made sure I didn't think, like, oh, he'll never like wear this.
Right. No, and that's important.
And and that leads to, like I said, thoughts lead to actions. When you're thinking that you're supposed to be in a room, that's how you act. And typically, when you act that way, people don't really ask too many questions. So like, no one's like, you're not supposed to be here.
Right. Well, then on some metaphysics, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but like with metaphysics, I don't know. Are you familiar with metaphysics?
No,
or no?
But I like when you teach me stuff.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like I'm not saying these things are 100% fact by no means. That's something we always say here on the podcast is we're no gurus. I don't think that I know it all, nothing like that. So I want to put that full disclaimer out there. I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson by no means, right? But like, just from the little bit of studying, I've tried to do with when it comes to metaphysics, everything's vibrating right now. Everything's vibrating in this room on a different frequency, right? So when you talk to making sure that your mindset is on a certain frequency and you believe that you're supposed to be in those rooms, well, then everybody else picks up on that frequency. Yeah. And you don't stand out, you know, but if you're that person standing over in the corner that's just anxious and you look like, you know, he's fumbling the camera and, you know, they'd be like, bro, are you all right? You'd be like, yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm just trying to take some photos. Like everybody would feel uncomfortable, you know, but the fact that you were able to, and I'm sure in those moments too, man, like, when you did feel anxiety coming up or when you did feel yourself starting to get nervous, you kind of had to talk to yourself like, wait a second, man, let me relax. I'm good. This is why I'm here, you know, and have that inner self dialogue to kind of reset, man, and then, you know, focus on the mission.
No, yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what metaphysics.
Oh, okay.
That's why I brought it up.
Because I was I made it to another chapter in my book.
Nice.
And it says attention is like light, air, and water. So wherever you put it, it will multiply. So whether it's like if it's problems that you always put your attention to, then you're gonna have more problems. But like you're putting your attention on the success,
the
and
goal.
then it's just gonna create more for you.
Literally. Now, when did you develop this mindset? Because since I've known you, you've always been a deep thinker like myself. You've kind of always tried to challenge the status quo. You've always asked questions. You've had a better understanding of yourself and your purpose in this life. So when did it start for you?
As far as back as I can remember, honestly. But when I really started to kind of like become conscious of that and like hone in on it and kind of realize that, wow, not everybody thinks like this, is after college, kind of in that same period, you know, when I'm driving an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to work, I listened to a lot of audiobooks. I was so tired of just listening to music. When you're driving almost 3-4 hours a day, I listened to albums, playlists, front to back to front, knew every word. So I was like, let me get into books. So I started, you know, listening to a lot of books by Joe Dispenza, Neville Goddard. The reason what kind of led me down that path was I was looking for a persuasion book because my friend, he had put me on since I was getting into marketing. So it was like a psychology book. I came across a book called like How to Win the Lottery Every Time. And I'm thinking like, what kind of false advertising is this? Like, how do you make a book with this title? Like, you can't just not. But then like I read the description and it's talking about something called the law of attraction. Kind of what you mentioned, like you know what you focus your thoughts on. That's kind of how you bring that, you know, reality forth. So that kind of like led me down like a snowball effect of a path towards, you know, manifesting, law of attraction stuff. And like I said, that type of stuff, you know, made me more conscious of how, because it wasn't like it was really telling me anything new. It was more so adding more color to how I already thought. I was like really just reading or listening to the books, like thinking like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like, like I always had an inclination of that, like the pattern between like the thoughts I have and then what happens. And this kind of just put a lot of color to that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, man. That's all it really is. I think it's more simple than people
really
make it.
It is.
Like, yeah, I didn't come from like a crazy rich or successful family. I didn't come from like, I really, like if I can do the stuff that I've done, that everything that you guys are talking about, the brand, literally anybody can.
It's true.
Literally anybody can.
It's true. But you know what though too, man, and this is something that goes along with that. You have put in the work. Right, so it's one thing to have the thoughts, but then it's another thing to proceed with action, and that's where a lot of us go wrong. I've even made those mistakes where I've got these great ideas, but then I don't go out and execute, right? And so having the guts to take those risks is a whole nother element. True. You know?
I think I developed that aspect of it when I started running track my junior year of high school. And, you know, running track sucks. You know, the practices, it's literally, you know, the worst part about any other sport is conditioning.
Right.
And that's literally track. So, like, I'm thinking, like, man, I hate running, but, like, I do love winning. In order to win, you know, I got to, you know, practice. I got to do this. So that kind of, like, flipped the switch in my head where I started correlating my love for winning to now I love practicing because I know that leads to winning. Putting in the work at So that's kind of how I took that mindset and really started applying it to like everything in my life.
Did you have like an athlete that you looked up to in those college years or in your athletic during your athlete years?
Not really, because honestly, I was an athlete pretty late. I didn't grow up like loving sports. An athlete. I didn't start running track until my junior year.
Oh wow!
And I didn't really take it seriously until the end of my junior year. I ended up winning conference, shocking everybody, including myself.
Dang!
Oh wow!
So once I won conference, I'm like, man, this might be.
I might be kind of good.
Yeah,
I should probably stick with this. Yeah. So yeah, there wasn't really an athlete I looked up to. But there were like athletes that I liked. Derrick Rose, like I said, and then various people in the track and field world. I kind of studied them and emulated their stuff, their work ethic and whatnot. And yeah, really took it from there. Like, one thing that I did develop also during that time was that, how to achieve what, put in the work, outside of like, falling in love with the process. It's really as simple as like setting a goal. And then, like I said, you have like 60, 70,000 thoughts a day. You probably have a lot of decisions that you make a day too. Like starting from when you wake up. Should I snooze the alarm or should I wake up? And should I brush my teeth or whatever? So like, I hope that's not a choice for most people. I hope that's mandatory. But still though, it's like going back to that is like, once you set a goal, you're gonna have a bunch of choices come up, and it's real simple. If the choice, like, choose the choice that aligns with your goal. If you set a goal, I'm trying to lose weight. You're going to have a lot of choices when it comes to the food that you put in your body. Am I choosing the right foods to put in my body? Like, is this, if I'm offered candy, is this, aligned with my goal or is it not?
Right.
If it's aligned with your goal, make that choice. And you can kind of apply that to a lot of aspects in life.
Yeah, definitely. Because you were talking about brotherhood earlier.
Yeah.
Cuzzo. So what is your circle look like? Is it just you and your co-founder? I don't want to get it wrong. Co-founder, right?
Exactly.
Co-founder, right? Is it just you two, or are you guys starting to build what we call like a tribe?
Definitely building a tribe, but even outside of that, I feel like I've, like, a lot of people say, oh, like, my circle is small as a Cheerio, blah blah blah. I've never really related to that. I mean, maybe because I'm not a very dramatic guy, so I the friendships I do build, I kind of maintain on some like lifelong stuff, and that's kind of also contributed to the success of Scut, is having such a vast network. But yeah, like, I'm still very good friends with the same people that I've been friends with since kindergarten, elementary school.
Dope. That's what's up.
And yeah, it's really simple as that.
Have you found that like networking is one of your most powerful tools?
Absolutely.
At the moment,
kind of like what I mentioned earlier. A friend, the connection I made back in college, led to the Jake Paul connection. The Tory Lanez music video, I didn't just know that he was shooting a video. Somebody had texted me. I woke up from a nap to a text like, hey, Tory Lanez is shooting a music video in your area. Dope. You should pull up.
Dope. And what are the chances of waking up to a nap and seeing something like that, right?
In Miami,
you could have overslept.
Why can't you text me like that, man? Why can't you tell me something like that?
I got to move to Miami.
One of us got to move to Miami. I don't know who it is, but somebody got to move.
There's a lot of opportunity out there, man. That's why I'm not really looking back as of right now.
But tell us about that Tory Lanez video.
Yeah, so the Tory Lanez video, and this kind of plays into the networking and the brand stuff as well. Like I said, I honestly wasn't even going to go. I got the text, and when you wake up from a nap, you're a little groggy, you got to get ready and stuff like that. So I was like, honestly, I'm probably not going to, it's in like 30 minutes, like, probably don't want to slide. But then my girl at the time, she was like, I texted her, like, should I go? She called me back saying, like, yeah, what? Are you kidding me? Like, go to the video. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, usually when I do go to stuff like this, like, crazy stuff happens. Like, a lot of positive stuff happens, so I might as well. It's usually the stuff that I don't want to do ends up being the most, like, fruitful. For real. And that's another reason how I'm able to, like, do stuff that, might seem hard or whatnot. But, yeah, anyway, I ended up going. I bring a couple hats with me, of course. That was my main reason for going, honestly. I couldn't care less about being in the video, but I definitely want to, network and mingle with the people in the industry.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just kind of sitting in line out front. They're gonna shoot a scene of, like, the line going into the club, because Tory owned the club, and I have all these hats with me, and networking for myself and networking for the brand kind of go hand in hand, because people are like, hey, those are some cool hats. What is that? Blah blah blah. And I tell them, and then once I say, oh, I actually designed these hats for my brand, it sparks a whole conversation. They realize, oh, you're a designer, you're a brand owner, and it starts from there. And then, they're shooting our scenes in line, but in the industry, it's not really the most organized. So, like, I didn't want to just be the person. It's human, too. So I didn't want to just be in the line all day.
Right.
So kind of like on some acting like I'm supposed to be there type stuff, like we were discussing earlier. I just walk into the club, and I see the reason why we're taking so long just standing in line, because it's not like it's a line to get into the club. They're just acting like it is. Right. Yeah, I realized that the reason we're still out there is because they're shooting the main scene with Tory Lanez inside. So I'm like, oh, okay. But then, yeah, a lot of people are still just outside, hesitant, waiting to be told what to do by the director. acting like I've been there. I literally just walk up to the back of the suit, hop up there,
Throw that hat on.
yeah, find my little real estate, put the hat on, and then I'm in the scenes. The director is like, we shot the scenes like 5-10 times. Another crazy part is, since I had multiple hats on me, I didn't want to be in the scene like just carrying hats. That wasn't natural at all.
No,
so I ended up like putting one of the hats down on like a ledge, but like outside of the scene, like behind everybody. I turn around and then it's gone.
Some dude's
I'm like, what is going on? I look over, one of Tory Lanez's homeboy, his name is Davo. He has it on. I'm like, oh, bro, like that's my brand's hat. He's like, yeah, man, this is raw. I'm about to wear it in the scene. I'm like, say less.
What's up?
I'm like, perfect.
Which video is that?
It's Why Did I?
Okay.
Off his most recent album.
Dope.
Nice.
Which is a dope song.
It really is.
That
was nice.
I mean, he's got some other issues going on right now, but
and he still makes good music.
Yeah, hey, at the end
can't
of the
argue
day,
that. You really can't argue that. He makes good music.
Yeah, he definitely makes good music.
So some people would say, okay, you're one of the most. Some of our viewers or listeners may say, this dude is one of the luckiest guys I've ever, heard or seen.
Right.
But I think it's a testament to, like we said earlier, the hard work that you put in, the risks that you've taken. And regardless of whether or not you choose to take Scut to a multi-million-dollar brand or et cetera, your work ethic and your mindset alone is already making you successful. Because you're only how old?
I just turned 27 a couple weeks ago.
Okay,
Dang.
yeah. So
Young.
27, he's already been able to achieve all of these things for himself on a personal level. And I know you got way more goals and way more ambitions.
Way more in the tank.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I wanted to ask you, what does your next 10 years or potential 10 years look like for you? Have you thought it out that far?
Oh yeah, for sure. So something I do want to accomplish before I'm 40, before I'm 30 or 40 is a couple of things. One, I want to just make an app.
Okay.
And then two, I want to write a book, kind of like putting all of everything that we're talking about today, not about me, but like the mindset, the thought process, that type of stuff, in a consolidated format. So yeah, within 13 years, I hopefully have a book done. I'll be an author.
Dope.
And outside of that, traveling more, because like just moving to Miami alone completely opened my mind, changed my perspective on a lot of things, simply just from moving from Illinois to Miami. So now I'm really trying to, move to see what it's like on the other side of the world.
I get it,
across the pond, Europe, because like if my perspective can change so much just from staying domestic, but just moving from state to state, I can imagine how much it'll change. Experiencing different cultures, different traditions, just around the world. Because when you really think about it, over there in the Eastern Hemisphere, China, Africa, places in Europe, they have thousands of years of culture and tradition.
Yeah.
Whereas over here in the West, we don't have much. Obviously, you're not getting too like political, but like black people were slaves, so they really stripped our history away. But even in modern times, our culture is kind of dictated by like the Kardashians and Drake and whatnot, and that's not really true culture. So
no, that's not. That's true. That's true. And Fred Taylor from the Pivot podcast always says that exposure leads to expansion.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Yeah, exposure leads to expansion.
Putting yourself in these different places really does open your eyes. And would you give that advice to anybody who's maybe, let's say, in their late teens, about to go to college, or maybe just finished college? Would you tell them to travel so that they can get that exposure?
100%, 10 times out of 10, because people think you have perspective or experience, but then they really haven't left their hometown.
Right.
They haven't met anyone outside of their own, circle, outside of their own demographic. So how do you really have perspective if the only one you have is your own?
True.
What's opened my mind a lot is meeting people that are completely opposite from me, whereas never born in or hasn't been born in America. Different races, different cultures, and kind of seeing how they look at life, and kind of understanding that people. It's a lot of gray area. People aren't really right or wrong. It's really how they see it, and really just trying to understand, like, get in other people's heads and see how they see it. That's really perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that, like, and this is something that we've even talked about on the podcast. Like, we feel one of our things and one of our purposes to do is, he feels like his purpose right now is to help the next man. Right. So to give the assist, he doesn't have to be the main focus.
Yeah.
He's constantly wanting to put himself in a position where he can help others and be a dot connector. Right. Myself. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Really. It really is, because it's like everybody wants to be Neo, but nobody wants to be Morpheus.
Man.
Right.
Right.
For real. That's a great metaphor.
And it's those individuals who are kind of like behind the scenes that don't get the quote unquote credit that make everything flow. That really make the ecosystem work. But like, even for myself, I'm trying to genuinely connect with as many people as I can, and really connect on a human level, right? Because if you can do that, then you can find something in common with everybody. And to your point, if you put yourself in these different spaces around different cultures, around different people that speak different languages, et cetera,
right,
you'll quickly realize we're not that different.
No,
we just say it differently, right? Or we may do it maybe a slight tweaks here and there, but ultimately, man, we really are all pretty similar. You know?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
And the things that make us different are important, right? Otherwise, it'd be pretty boring if everybody was the same. You know?
Exactly.
Really
That's true.
Yeah.
I got a good question for you, man. Because before, it was last week when we were with Rakia, I asked, they described you. I hadn't said.
Really?
Yeah, they described.
They described this.
Right, and then I was like, man, is he Hollywood already, or is he not? And then they were like, nah, man. No. And then meeting you today, you could very well be a dude who's like, man, I ain't trying to do all that. Like, you know who I am. You could very well be like that just based off of everything you've done. Mm-hmm. So what's kept you from being too Hollywood?
Yeah, just being kind of that mindset that I said, like, I'm not really a fan of anybody. It goes reverse as well. Like, I'm a human as well. Just like I think everyone else is human. Like, I'm also a human. Like, I'm big on, like, just like you said, the human to human connection. We're all here for a purpose, Mm-hmm. So that's really what keeps me on. Like, being how, like, I don't care how, famous or big I get. Like, I'm still going to make time for the people that just, like, showed me love. And
that's what's up, man.
Supported me,
Yeah. No, and that's important, man. That's important because not everybody can see that.
Yeah.
Some, like you said, man, some people would their head would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But, how important is your relationship with your family? Because do you feel like family is also something that helps keep you grounded, helps keep you humble?
Absolutely. Honestly, everything I do, to be honest, is for my family. Like I said, I didn't come from the most rich family. So, like, really all the stuff I've been doing has been, like, years in the making of, how can I put myself in a position to really take care of my family, to really start retiring people in my family, putting them in homes and whatnot. So that's literally, like, I feel like that's my purpose, honestly.
Yeah, that's your why.
Yeah. Just really, supporting them. Like, I could honestly call it a day right now and just chill, live my life in Miami, not really work hard, just, do my day job. But, like, that doesn't motivate me. Like, that's not going to retire my mom. It's not going to retire my dad, put my parent or family up.
Yeah. So as we get towards the end, we always get I don't know if you have Rakia's question down.
Ooh.
Do you have Rakia's question down? She had two questions. You want to ask him the first question?
So I'm gonna give you the option, Justin. Mm-hmm. Now you can pick question number 1 because I'm gonna ask you both of them, right?
All right.
And you can either choose question number 1 first or question number 2 first.
Let's go in order. Let's go with question number 1.
All right. Question number 1 is, what is the meaning of life? And this was asked by Rakia.
The meaning of life.
You can take a second, man. Because we want to make sure that you give a solid answer.
Yeah.
It's a good question, right?
She said she asked it so he could think about it. Yeah. Remember, she was like, I'm gonna give him something to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, so my thing is, the meaning of life, it definitely varies from person to person. But at the end of the day, to generalize it, it's so, 1, find your purpose, but 2, to just experience it. Life is a very precious thing. A lot of people take it for granted, but we got to realize that, like, we only get one life. So it's a learning experience for everyone. But the most important thing is the experience. Making sure that you're always there for, you're appreciating the people around you. They're not always going to be there. You're learning, growing from your mistakes that you're making. And so that's how I kind of see the meaning of life. There's no, like, one cut and dry specific answer for everybody, but in general, it's just experience it. To grow.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that, man.
Short and simple, man. Sometimes it is that simple.
That's all it is.
No, I went to Miami. I went down there, which is a funny story how I ran into this dude. So this is after he had moved back down to Miami, right? And I was going there for my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
And some buddies of mine were meeting me down there on a Friday. So that Friday I think it was either Thursday or Friday. I can't remember what day it was. But I decided that I was going to go, man, and watch some basketball games at this whiskey lounge, Cigar and Whiskey Lounge in Brickell in downtown Miami.
Yeah.
And I had actually asked his brother to go with me down to Miami. I was like, hey, man, I'm going to go down to Miami, celebrate my 30th birthday. Your brother's down there. Like, you know, we can party, have a good time, et cetera, et cetera. Well, he didn't end up coming. So I'm in the cigar lounge, having a couple drinks, man, having a cigar. And then I come out, and I was just going to come out, man, and go to the next spot. And as I'm walking out, I see a girl walking by me. And then I look to my right, and there's this guy. Out of all the people in the world, this guy. Man. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, what are you doing down here? You know, and we just had a little funny interaction. Yeah. But out of all the people in Miami, man, I run into him.
Literally, if funny. I was a minute later or a minute earlier, that interaction wouldn't have happened. But he just so happened to walk out of the building as I'm walking down the street with my girl.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's funny.
Now that leads us to question number 2. All right, now this is the funny one, man. Okay. Why should we stay away from Scorpios?
Why should we stay away from Scorpios? So yeah, that's actually a perfect segue because the girl that I was with when I walked in was a Scorpio.
Yeah. I knew it. Man. I knew it. That look she had on her face when she was walking by. I said, well, she seems like she's upset. She's mad at the world. I don't know why. And then I see this guy.
And you're like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, man. And I was just like, hey, I've been there. I know how this guy's feeling right now. Right. I dated a Scorpio or 2 in my past. Dang. So, I mean, it's nothing
I'm ready.
Again.
I'm ready to hear this though because Scorpios must have a problem.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say that. All right, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say that, you know, there's some of them are okay, you know, and then some of them are gonna give you a little bit of trouble.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
So you just gotta pick your poison, really.
All right. So
but I mean, we're all. I'm no saint,
right?
Know?
Exactly.
Right. So I'm not gonna sit here. We're all saying this jokingly to all our Scorpios that are listening and watching. Please don't.
Just being funny.
Yeah, just don't take this. Don't take it personal. You know?
Please don't. Take it personal. Yeah, but no, I mean, personally, I don't think I would stay away from Scorpios. I'd probably just use some more discernment because, you know, it wasn't all bad with her, obviously. That's why we were together. Yeah. But, you know, there were some, you know, negative traits that I've noticed specifically with Scorpios.
There's a correlation. That's all he's saying.
I'm noticing a correlation. I notice patterns. I notice patterns.
Yeah, you know.
But, yeah, it was actually, that's a funny story because, you know, I'm talking about, you know, her being toxic. But historically, I was relatively the toxic person in my relationships, but I'm also a learner. So, like, I've taken something away from every relationship I've been in and learned and grown from it. So by the time I got to her, she was probably like my 3rd girlfriend at that point. I thought I was ready. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, oh yeah, just for context, a toxic trait I had was I always ended things prematurely with the person I was with. So yeah, when I'm with her, I'm thinking like, okay, you know.
Sounds like me. This is light skin shenanigans.
I guess, man. No, for real, that's the illusion of opposites, man. But yeah, so like knowing that I always end things prematurely, before even getting to my next relationship, I'm already telling myself, man, like I learned a lot. I need to be more patient with these girls. You know, I'm not gonna end things prematurely. Just so unfortunately happens that she was the next relationship. So like when I'm noticing the red flags, I'm noticing all the issues. I'm telling myself, look, I know you want to end it so bad, but you just told yourself like, you know, you're gonna be patient, stick things through. But nah, man, stuck things through a little too long past the expiration date, and it just wasn't, you know, the best relationship.
It happens, man. It's a learning. We're big on learning experiences,
sure.
At the Electus podcast, and we talk about how in your 20s, man, make as many as you can in a way that you don't really screw yourself too bad,
right? For sure.
Because if you didn't have those experiences, you wouldn't know now what you really need.
Exactly.
In a partner, and you know, you brought up a really good point too, man, and holding yourself accountable, right? Like even if the other person, and it can work vice versa, it doesn't matter, male or female, but even if that other person is more toxic, or even if you're, you know, it's just not working out, you got to own it, the fact that you chose to be with that person, right? That you chose to stay with that person, and you know, so you got to have some ownership in it.
And that's exactly why I, you know, with all that being said, I still don't regret that relationship because of what you said. You know, it was a learning experience. It taught me, you know, a lot of stuff I liked, but more importantly, a lot of stuff I didn't like. A lot of stuff to look out for. So it was definitely an experience.
You still wish that person well.
Of course,
you hope that they, you know, that they find peace and that they find love as well. Cause
literally wish everybody as well.
Yeah, everybody needs somebody.
Yeah, definitely. So no more Scorpios for you in the future.
Like I said, we'll see. You know, like there's some good times. There's some good times. So I'll just use a bit more discernment.
We'll get some Scorpios in the comments there and be like, I'm gonna change him. You know,
I'm all for it.
He said I'm all
I'm
for it.
all for
He
it.
said
Let's
tag him.
see.
You
Let's
tag them,
see.
slide in the DMs. Speaking
Nah,
of which,
that's
where can they find you at?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at J__A__. A bit confusing, I know.
No,
But
underscores
you can
there.
also find the brand Scut at
Yep.
www_Scut_shop.
Dope.
All right.
Dope. Yeah.
Dope.
So, I mean, if our viewers and listeners, obviously, you see the dope hats in the back.
Yep.
You guys could go and make a purchase, man. I'm sure, not only would we appreciate it here on the Electus podcast, but you're supporting a genuinely solid dude, a solid brother. And I've been able to sit back and watch him grow this from nothing. And he's put in the work. He's put in the time. So everything he's got to this day and everything he's going to achieve and continue to gain in the near future, he's earned it. So we want to thank Justin again for coming on the podcast.
Yep.
We really appreciate it. We know this man's got a flight to catch.
Oh yeah, you got a flight.
So, dude.
Catch us in Miami too. The next one, man. Hopefully we could do one in Miami with
I
you.
would
Yeah,
love
that would be dope.
We're gonna do it.
That would be dope. We're
Let
gonna
me
make
know.
it
I
happen.
got the space for it. I
Dope.
know exactly where to take y'all. So yeah, if you guys
Dope.
ever are down there, we'll definitely set
Dope.
it up.
We're gonna do that
So a part two will be coming in
in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Hit them
fellas.
with the outro.
All right, man. We want to thank you guys.
Oh, whoa.
You know, you guys are thanking me, but I would like to thank. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this podcast for a
Dope.
minute. So man, first things first, thanks for having me on. But to really show you guys a token of my appreciation, of course, I got some
shady.
Nice,
shirts, man. I
nice.
had to bring y'all some merch.
Chris-
There, man.
Christmas
Thanks,
came
man.
early.
Christmas
Yes,
came
sir.
early.
I think I'm gonna
Appreciate
wear
y'all
these
boys.
tonight for the game.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, you know,
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock them for the game.
I'm rocking.
That'd be hard. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna rock
it's
them for the game.
Yeah, I'm rocking.
This is actually
Oh, this is
these are
tight.
probably my favorite.
Yeah, these
I
are
like
tight.
these Bulls.
Yeah.
Oh, these are Miami right here.
Yeah.
You got the
Hey,
Miami one.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
Oh yeah, these are nice.
Appreciate it, man.
Man, thank you, bro.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate it.
Of course, dog.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Thanks, man. All right, you guys. Well, we got to. I gotta go wash these shorts real quick before
Right.
I play in them.
Right.
So once again, man, thank you, Justin, man, for coming on to the podcast. If you guys could like, comment, share this particular episode, we would really appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace.